Hello there folks, SeKo Starcraft here. Got this replay sent by Gonzy as part of their 2v2 cup they had recently. Hopefully I'll be able to get in part of that and stream it in the next little while. But until then, what the heck's with this SUV? And that's why you use auto split. Anyways, these are actually all Master League players. I believe there's one diamond in here. I'm not too sure which one it is. But this is actually a pretty interesting map for 2v2. I've played on it a bit more. The freebie expand. Double ramp though, instead of the usual single. So you've got to be a little bit more... You too. Got to be a little bit more offensive minded. Because you don't have just one ramp to defend. You got to be a little bit smarter about it. Is wall off on one side. This side not walling off. And I don't think you really should need to in this position. Against a Zerg player you might feel like you need to. But if there's another way open, the problem is all of your tech's going to be a long ways away from where your units need to be. So that's why generally in situations like this I don't bother walling off. Drone scout happening. EMP. X game. I've casted a lot of X game players as part of the different Gonzy tournaments I've done in the past. And ON on the other hand, I am not as familiar with. Anyways, all talent. I don't think I've ever casted a team game with talent of this caliber. So I'm kind of interested to see what they do. When I've played against some higher talent, which like platinum diamond level players, they just don't need to generally do cheesy strats. They can generally just go straight for, you know, just smart straight up builds, out macro you, and then just roll over you in the mid to late game. And we'll see if that's what we have going on this side. Both players to the north are expanding. We actually had a command center first and a hatch first. It's the beauty of this drone scout that went out here. The drone scout will be able to see everything that's happening. Sees the timing of the gas. She cancelled that there cybernetics core. We can see this team up here with X game on it, and what's his name? EMP. EMP and Toxic. They're a little bit more conventional openings. I'm not gonna say they're a bit more afraid, but they just likely don't want to lose to something weird. I believe these were best of 3 games as well. And sometimes when you're playing those, this might have been the last game, or you know the red team may have been down a game and therefore played a bit more standard. She had even a gas before a pool, which is essentially the greediest opening that you can do as Zerg, other than like a 2-hatch opening. But ultimately, this gas before a pool is quite aggressive when it comes to the economy. Barracks finishes up pretty much right on time with the command center to get the double orbital down. Start shooting at this here gas. If you're going to take a gas, you might as well take the Protoss's gas. I think it impacts more builds. On the Terran side, yes, it can affect Banshee play if you take that other gas. But generally, I think I'd pick to take the Protoss's gas as well if that was my call. Going into a factory up here from Hopeless. I do like the opening out of this blue team. That scout told them that they were perfectly fine to just go for straight macro, straight greed. You can see economy-wise, they're essentially tied up. But when it comes to extra bases, like this base is just starting. We've got essentially 2 orbitals finished and 2 hatches finished already for the blue team. Fantastic position. Hellions are on the way. And a 4-gate. So this is going to be a pretty big pressure attack. We'll see if the blue team can hold us off. So this is essentially one team trying to counter the greed of the other. And they both scouted what each other are doing. But the blue team doesn't know this was a 4-gate Hellion Marine follow-up. So this could do a fair amount of damage. Even went for a reactor on this side as well. See if this is to get out his own Hellions, which is what I would expect. Zerg player has gotten no units yet. We can see the red dots starting to move across the map. If they come up from the south, I'd be a little surprised. I thought maybe they'd go after the Zerg player. In the early game, if your Zerg player in a team game isn't being aggressive, they're usually the weakest link. That's at least how I play it. I usually play to be super aggressive right away as Zerg. Or I play to be like, hey, keep me alive, because I'm going to macro the hell out of my entire situation. And then we'll be able to just stomp over these guys when I got my ideal situation up. There is a bunker going down over here, which is quite smart. He might have seen this coming. These Hellions will be able to shut it down, though. Now he needs to get somebody out onto that real fast. If he can finish that bunker, he's going to be in an okay spot. Looks like he's going to let it finish. No, it's like a second away from finishing. Double Widow Mines go down. One gets sniped immediately. Ah, and it shot the Zealot too. Lots of Zerglings out though. Snipes off the reactor and the tech lab. This is a pretty nice little attack here. See, the Zerg player is a little hesitant because of these Hellions. He's going to get himself a good surround. Zealots all got caught to the north. You see some SCVs stuck behind some Hellions there. Zerglings will clean a lot up. Watch the Widow Mine. Great shot from the Widow Mine there. Looks like the pressure is just going to continue. This Banshee does not have Cloak, and with these Stalkers and Marines in play, it's pretty tough. Great positioning on these Hellions. They're going to get a pretty big lineup of Zerglings, but they will get all eliminated. You can see just the red party train is still coming across here. A couple of Widow Mines are up right now. He's going to get the surround on the Hellions. A little bit of miss micro here to Toxic, letting those units get taken out. Great Widow Mine hit on the Zealots. Clean a lot up. There's a lot of Widow Mines here. Good drag from that Zealot. Let's look at the units right now. Look at the economy for the blue team. They're still actually in the lead when it comes to their economy. Red team is still making workers behind this. 10 drones now on the way from the Zerg player. Double SCVs. And another base. So the blue team held that pretty good. A little desperate. Little look at all those mules. I'm going to see what the income is going to be for this blue team for a second here. Look at that just shoot up. 1,500 minerals. Why not? Power the mules. Cleaning up all the proxy buildings. Another proxy pylon over there. Hellions all get picked up. Just testing the fronts, see where you can get in. Everything is walled off right now. The blue team doesn't have to do a lot of damage. He's just got all these Zerglings and nothing to really do with them right now. Cloak is on the way once again for that Banshee. I think it's for the Banshee. It'd be funny if it's for Ghosts. Pretty sure it's for the Banshee. I didn't think I saw a nuke den go down. Scan, sees the macroing up. No bases taken from the other players, so they should feel pretty confident. Another base on the way around the gold. Blue team doesn't have to press the issue. They just got to play smart from here. They've got a good lead going on. It looks like the Red Terran dropped a bunch of mules as well. If we do look at the overall worker count, Protoss player hasn't built really any more workers. He's essentially just on one base. So this might just be another kind of all-in attack from these guys, kind of on their 3-base setup. Unless the Protoss player wants to go for another base soon. They're falling really far behind in economy. Terran player actually on the blue side has only got 33 workers. Still building a bit more right now. Maybe he got supply blocked for a while. We see a lot of supply depots going down. So I figured he'd be a bit further ahead on the economy. Zerg player is the one with the killer economy. 54 workers. Lots of static Ds. Got the resources to spend. Kills the rocks in a kind way for his buddy. We'll get down another base. So once again, blue team's in a great spot. Sees the timing of this Nexus. Dark Shine and Blink on the way right now. Wow, did the drone killed it off? Why not? There are spores and spines. Well, essentially that base is some spores and spines. So we'll see what kind of damage he can do. It just depends on where he sends these DTs. Mouse. We see some attacks going on here. More Hellion run-bys. Nice little Zealot drop here. It's actually going to get this hatch more than likely. He's going to focus it down. What are the upgrades? 0-0 Lings, 0-0 Zealots. More Zealots getting warped in. This is really funny. Why not? Really wants to keep that hatchery alive. In come some Hellions to help clean that up though. Lots of Hellions in play. Now he's going to put up the defenses. Actually, all spines. Would be nice to get a spore. There it is. 2 DTs we see warping in right now. We'll see if the spore gets finished pretty soon here. You might have seen those warp in. Spore's on the way. Let's see if he targets it down first. Oh, he's hitting a spine crawler, unfortunately. If he doesn't get that spore, it's a pretty expensive loss. He actually is going to fight with his drones. He does not want to lose that spore crawler. Zealots do get away, but the spines will finish up and that base should be alright. Oh. Didn't even notice there's this big attack going on in the middle. It's like that one Terran attack will get cleaned up. Good Widowmine shots here. He's going to have to drop a scan soon. Has shut down all the mining essentially at one base. These Widowmines are doing 12 kills? Oh man. Did he clean up the other ones? No, he didn't. And the DTs are cleaning everything up. This is really wonky. These Cloaked Banshees are completely uncontested up here right now. Scan does eventually clean some stuff. Ooh. Targeted down his own building for a second. Blue Flame is actually finished up for a blue player here. 1 DT. This isn't much of an army, unfortunately, particularly with the Banshees and the amount of Zerglings. There is an Overseer with this army, so we should be able to clean this all up. Trying to clean up the rocks, but we can see the economy right now for this blue team is just crazy good. What's the actual units here? Yeah, look at the amount of workers for all these players right now. Needs to get some more workers to that gold base. Terran's essentially on 3 bases, moving towards a 4th pretty soon. Protoss player has just been lagging so much in his economy here. It's going to be pretty tough. Zerg player can move a bit more creep. I love this. If you're playing team games, throw down the spores and the spines. Hellion run-bys. If they happen once, they're going to happen again. Just defend yourself. No reason not to. Planetaries. You just don't want to have to spend some army to come back and babysit your bases. Let's see what the upgrades are for this thing. Maybe upgrades? Upgrades. Alright, so the red team essentially just has +1. Not much upgrades for either team right now. Nobody seems to want to be investing in the upgrades. Good positioning on the Terran player here. We'll actually clean up that bit of Zerglings. Zerglings aren't going to last forever. 21 roaches on the way with 2/2 upgrades and double spire. I like that tech choice. The Zerg player's been on Zerglings and Static D for way too long here. Does have a couple Vikings. Nice snipe. Finally going to get some air control. Another base for the blue team. I love this team games. Just keep taking the map. Bit of a supply block right now for the Terran player though. Dropping 2 command centers. We need to drop some supply calldowns or something. The red team just feels choked, which is weird because the blue team really hasn't been pressuring them that much. Does not want to fight this bio even with an impending upgrade lead. 18 more roaches on the way, plus pathogen glands and burrow. That could be fun. I just don't really think roaches are a great late game kind of comp. They're more of like a desperation comp or a comp that's going to buy you to what you actually want to do, which I think might be a massive muta switch here in the next little bit. This is almost maxed out though. Terran player not too far off himself. 3rd base down for the Protoss. Looks like it's just getting saturated now, just taken. His tech's pretty pitiful as well. Just DTs. He is getting into Storm. Storm could be pretty handy, but up against roaches could be a bit more tough. Probably could fight and trade with this army just because he's got the upgrade lead. Do not have roach speed for these guys yet? Yes, he does. They just seem to be moving slowly. Roaches are not trading that well. Once again, this is why I don't generally choose roaches as a late game comp. They only last you for so long, and then you essentially you just don't trade very well. You don't trade cost efficiently enough. I mean, they're a bit more efficient on larva, but they're way less efficient. You gotta siege up those tanks. Fire army got a little bit steamrolled trying to jump on top of the tanks. Probably should have just backed off and stutter stepped a bit. Well, be forced to lift off that base. More roaches moving across the map. But this bio army should be able to hold its own for a while. +2 attack, not that far off being finished. 15 more workers. How many workers? Yeah, he's at 85. It's going to put him up to 100 workers. Don't think he quite needs that right now. Particularly with his gas bank. 4,000 in the bank for gas? Not much. Well, he's going to get down to static D. Can't disagree with that. tank, blue flame hellions, and double planetary. That's going to be a tough one to break. Only 1-1 on the mech army. I do like mech. Mech is so much fun. So now if he was pushing mech with the roaches, I'd maybe give him a little bit more of a chance. But even this bit of army would just roll through these roaches here. How about Hellion, tank, Banshee, Viking? Pretty good composition. It's a very good composition, in fact. Not a lot of roaches here. 14 infestors on the way. Once again, caught with a bad composition. Actually, there's a ton of marauders in here. It's going to be tough to deal with this composition with a lot of things. You couldn't Baneling hit it. Roaches will get shredded. Hydras in there might do pretty good. Fungals with some... Fungals with a little bit of Ultralisk play. There's still enough Marines to make Mass Muta a little bit tough. Oh no, he doesn't know about this. Or he spent all of his mules. If he loses that, that's going to be a little sad. Does keep it alive, but barely. Oh, he's got some SCVs there to try and keep it going. This is funny. Look how close these bases are. I didn't even realize that. Big attack in the middle. Money Fungals. But where's the actual army to fight, though? Yeah, I mean, the Marauders are toasted. Well, it's kind of split. Split action between the players right now. Upgrades aren't that great for either of these players. Nothing, essentially, for the Protoss player. Plus, one's just on the way now. Because normally you could crush through this with the Immortals and Archons. This army would just get demolished by this if you had the upgrades in place. Planetary backing it up, however, makes it a bit more challenging. Should be trying to reinforce this with some more units. There they are. Let's see, he doesn't really have that much stuff, and to lose this would be a bit unfortunate. He's maxed out now. More upgrades on the way. Actually getting the building armor. You need to grab that. If you're playing on like a late game mech style, building armor, really helpful. Parade push of units. Bit of a standoff here. Looks like they might want to sandwich this position. But if this planetary gets down before these get into play, it'd be pretty tough. Looks like they do want to go for the sandwich. You know, he's going to attack the double planetaries. He will get them, but this will be pretty taxing. Pretty beat up units here. Vikings don't want to throw themselves away. Trying to snipe some medevacs. Big roach push on this side. Love the efficiency of bio though. This will get cleaned up. There is enough stuff here to hold it off. So I do be able to get cleaned up. Just such a powerful unit mix. Just mass bio. Tons of marauders. Actually catch some Vikings out in the open here. Good little snipe. He's gonna take their base as well. Sure. This map's got so much open space in the middle. I think it's wise for a lot of teams just to be able to take their bits of armies, poke where it's weak, jut in, see if you can hit some of the bases to a bit more open. Such as something like this. No defenses here. All the armies on this side of the map. Zerg players pretty much maxed out. Greater Spires would be finished. Brood Lords would be awesome against this comp. This base is going to go down really fast. Our blue Terran player's got a lot of supply, but where is all of it? A lot of it's down here to the south, defending something that doesn't need to be. He will push in and take this base out, though. We're getting a little base tradey. This is such a beat-up bit of bio. It's going to be a tough base trade, but there's not much room for supply back here to try and keep it alive. Seeker missiles. Let's dodge Seeker missiles. We got hardened shields. DTs clean up the tanks. There's no missile turrets down here. This is, well, the Zerg player did come back. It looks like he will clean this up finally. This is a pretty tough little bit of Protoss though. No upgrades, but Immortal Archon. Yeah, well, that's a lot of stuff as well, I suppose. Actually gets full surrounds on some of the units. Trying to do a mass repair, but mass DTs prevail. Actually, we'll shut that down. The bank for our blue team is pretty good, but they're not taking out this like match as convincingly as I thought they would. I mean, maybe it's just their lack of aggression. The red team might not have had great engagements, but at least they've been engaging. The blue team's just been like expanding and not attacking. Cleaning up some creep, which I don't think is really that big of a deal, but why not? Where's all the armies for these players? Blue team's down to 104 supply. Red team's still in this. Taking some more bases. Zerg player still on Roach and Fester. Say the Brood Lord's probably been great. There's the supply. To mass battle cruiser. Well, he's got the upgrades for it. I'm not going to say it's kind of cheeky, but the mass battle cruiser transition for late game meching players is viable. Just gonna say it's viable. Trying to do some spreads here with the units. Got just some fungals here. He's trading pretty good. Point defense drones, awesome. Obviously, take away all the strength of the Marauders. Another Protoss push up here. Could get a lot of damage in on these bases if he just went for it. Looks like he wants to try and cut off this blue army. Red Terran starting to lose his money a bit here. 3/3 roaches, pretty good. +2 attack. Clumping up, the Archons are going to do a pretty good amount of splash damage here. Auto turret drop in the back. Loves me some auto turret drops. And it looks like these will get cleaned up here. Blue team taking a pretty big lead. I'd hate to admit it, but the roaches are working out. Snipes a couple high Templars. Toxic is out. He's essentially broke. The Protoss player, he's got some money, so he hasn't left yet. Which is kind of funny. He's making more probes. Never give up. Taking the base right out from underneath them. I don't know, I still think that the, yeah, just as a note, if you blink out of the way from a Seeker Missile, the Seeker Missile will still shoot where the target was. So if you blink and then walk back into it again. I don't know if you can blink Yamato shots. It looks like there's time to. And then there's the GG. Interesting long game, a little bit of everything in it. High level 2v2, SeKo Starcraft. Thanks everybody for watching. We'll talk with you later.